Driving on Mars by Mary Kay Carson. I should read about them. Cool. The landscape of Mars is bleak and rocky. The bottom of this photo shows the Pathfinder and one of its open doors. Red Planet rover. It was a chilly summer day on the planet Mars. The temperature was only 8 degrees Fahrenheit. Mars looked like a desert of reddish rocks and dirt under a pinkish sky. There on the gravel plain rested a machine called a lander. Its open doors looked like three petals. The lander, called Pathfinder, had been sent from Earth to land on Mars. Anchored inside Pathfinder was a robot car or rover named Sojourner. Sojourner was the size of a microwave oven and had 6 wheels. It was the first moving vehicle to ever visit another planet. Okay. Yeah, little pictures. Pathfinder's mission. It had taken 3 years and $150 million to build and launch the rover and its lander. This was fast and cheap compared to other Mars missions. Many people said the mission would never work, but on December 2nd, 1996, Pathfinder was put on a rocket and launched into space. Pathfinder's voyage to Mars took 7 months. On July 4th, 1997, it arrived at the Red Planet. To save money, not to save money, NASA had designed Pathfinder for a crash landing. As Pathfinder entered the atmosphere of Mars, a parachute opened. The speed of the spacecraft slowed to 150 miles per hour. Ew, 150 miles per hour? That's pretty cool. That's like going down the highway or speeding down the highway. So parachute, heat shield, parachute, pictures. This drawing shows Pathfinder's descent to the surface of Mars on July 4th, 1997. So we learned about history. More pictures. 10 seconds before Pathfinder hit the ground, its giant bags inflated. Pathfinder slammed into the ground at 30 miles per hour and bounced 40 feet into the air. It bounced 16 times like a giant beach ball. Then the lander rolled to a stop in the red dust. Each of the airbags that protected Pathfinder as its landing was made up of 5 layers of special material. Members of the Pathfinder team cheered after the Pathfinder landed safely on Mars. Cool. Cheers and yells filled the mission operations room of the Jet Propulsion Laboratory, a California company that is part of NASA. NASA scientists had a lot to celebrate that 4th of July. Oh, cool. So I landed 4th of July, I guess. Oh, wow, that's nice. We landed on Mars 4th of July, 1997. Cheers and yet Pathfinder's airbags let out that air. The doors of the space my chocolate at. Pathfinder's airbags let out that air. The doors of the spacecraft opened. Sojourner was inside, safe and sound. Pathfinder pointed its antennas towards Earth. It radiated home, then it started carrying out one of its main tasks, snapping pictures. Cool. Pathfinder's pictures soon reached Earth. They were the first pictures taken of Mars in more than 20 years. One of Pathfinder's first pictures showed the lander stipulated airbags in more pictures. In the driver's seat, shortly after landing, Sojourner's motors began to whir. The rover slowly moved down a ramp onto Mars. Its wheels left thread marks in the dust. Sojourner didn't move on its own though. Brian Cooper decided how Sojourner would move. Cooper is a computer engineer. He wrote the computer program that controls Sojourner. He was also Sojourner's lead driver. Cooper's job was to control Sojourner as they explored Mars. This is Sojourner rolling onto Mars. Brian Cooper. I guess he's an old guy now. Probably dead by now. We don't know yet. So this is Brian Cooper. I guess he's a really old guy now. This was him in 1997, I guess, in the 1990s. He's probably like this in the 60s by now. Controlling a robot rover on Mars was a dream come true for Brian Cooper. As a kid in California, he loved video games and toy cars operated by remote control. He read science fiction stories about robots and talking computers. When he saw Neil Armstrong walk on the moon in 1969, Brian decided to become a pilot or an astronaut. When Cooper grew up, he joined the Air Force, but poor eyesight kept him from becoming a pilot. So he had bad eyesight. So this guy had bad eyesight. So children watching this, even if you have bad eyesight, you can still do good things, just like me. He was disappointed but still interested in machines. I built my first robot in college, Cooper said. I used it to explore my living room. Using the sun and more pictures. After college, Cooper went to work at NASA testing robot vehicles, including Sojourner. The Sojourner drivers couldn't go to Mars to test their rover, so they built a place on Earth that looked like Mars. It was giant sandbox built with rocks, just like the ones on Mars. Sojourner's drivers spent a lot of time practicing in the sand pit. Now it's time to put the practice to work. Cooper sat in the front of a computer. The screen showed Sojourner parked near the lander on Mars. The scientists wanted Sojourner to examine the colorful rock nearby. They named the rock Barnacle Bill. Cooper wore 3D goggles. He operated a joystick that moved Sojourner on the computer screen. Using these instruments, Cooper felt like he was on Mars. He could see how big the rocks were and how far away they were from Sojourner. Cooper began to weave the little rover around the rocks. More pictures of Brian and controlling a rover from 119 million miles away was not easy. It took each message about 11 minutes to reach Mars from Earth. If Sojourner went headed for a cliff, it would fall up by the time it got a message telling it to stop. Cooper had to use computer to plan a safe route for Sojourner. The Pathfinder's pictures of Mars showed where Sojourner was. The computer used these pictures to create a landscape just like Mars. The landscape made Mars look like a real thing on Cooper's screen. Once Cooper had the steps of a safe route planned, he sent them to Sojourner. 11 minutes after Cooper sent his commands, Sojourner turned and headed towards Barnacle Bill. The rock was only 10 feet away, but Sojourner needed to be right up against the rock to study it. The rover moved slowly closer to look at the rock. Full stop. It was perfect parking job. A special tool on Sojourner's pressed against the Barnacle and began studying the rock. Results of the mission. The Mars Pathfinder was a huge success. The lander was designed. Results of the mission. The Mars Pathfinder mission was a huge success. The lander was designed to work for only 1 month. Sojourner was designed to work for only 1 week. But the Sojourner kept breaking and Pathfinder kept sending back pictures. 16,500 in all. When Pathfinder's batteries finally died on September 27, 1997, Sojourner lost touch with Earth. Scientists learned a lot about Mars in those 3 months. They learned what each rock was made of. They also learned about the temperature, wind patterns, Mars. Most important, they learned that the lander and rover could explode. Should come. Science work hard to make patterns. Now, responding. Think about the selection. So, questions for the people that stayed to watch. Think about the selection. What made the people in the mission operations room at the JPL chair? Oh, I like that. When did Brian Cooper become interested in space and robots? How did Brian Cooper practice controlling Sojourner? What do you think was the biggest accomplishment of the Mars Pathfinder? I like this. Thank you. So, Driving to Mars by Mary Kay Carson. Look at this. Well, thank you. Thank you to the school that donated these books. Thank you to the teacher / school that donated these books. Perfect.